All right, let's go. Got Jonah Kest in the studio today for a podcast, the one and only. He is a man of many talents. I can go on and on with what he does, but he's an incredible human being. Yogi, the first Nike athlete sponsored yogi. He's newly engaged. He has so much wisdom for life. And dude, he's just such a pure heart. So I love this conversation. Cannot wait for you to listen to it. So buckle up for a very mindful, intentional, and incredibly value-packed conversation that will make you a better human and make you more inspired to keep becoming more you.
All right, dude, I'm gonna be super sore because we just freaking hit some yoga and it's been like a year for me, or maybe 2 years.
Where did you feel it the most?
I think it's the like deep squat, hips, like when you're out there fully extended and your butt's on the ground, like that's impressive.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think that's a lot for me.
Bro, but like it just shows, like, I'm not just saying this, like your body awareness through space, like your proprioception, your ability to like just kind of follow cues and know your limitations is impressive, bro. Cause like we did a lot of cool stuff, but like even the weights, just that balance, I think in general is really important and people shouldn't underestimate it. Like you don't have to go all yoga. You don't have to start wearing all white. Like you can, you don't have to go full Kundalini on everyone.
You start floating in the sky.
Bro, you can just be pathos, man. Just like, it's a lifestyle.
I want to double tap on that word you just used, Jonah. Like, what was it called? Spatio. Did we?
Proprioception.
Yeah. What is?
That is a cool word that I think kind of embodies just general movement, but it's really your body awareness through time and space. So it's like, you know, if you close your eyes, right? Like just your proprioception, being able to feel like not just internally, but externally, and just it's balance, it's everything sort of combined.
Do you think someone can learn that, or is that like kind of a
Of course, yeah, no, you can definitely train it, enhance it through exercises like yoga, meditation, just more mindful movement, I would say.
I think playing sports at a young age definitely had, you know what I'm saying, like training, lifting, but that was kind of later, I guess just going way further back, like playing soccer and doing stuff with my hands and my feet. Like I definitely think that's a huge leg up for people.
100%.
Sports are
and your main sport was baseball, right?
Baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far did you go with that? What was that journey like?
It's a big question. That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question. I'm like right into it.
No, I mean, baseball was everything for me after, I think, freshman, sophomore year. I like solely focused in on that. Before that, I was playing soccer, I was playing basketball, then I realized I'm just like a short white kid. I'm probably not going to go to the NBA.
I had that same realization.
It sucks, huh?
I slept with the basketball, man. Like that was like my dreams were hoop dreams, man.
Yes.
But then I realized, yeah, I'm a little too small.
And it's just so up-paced. It's fast-paced. It's fun.
Yeah, and I think, but it teaches you, like, it's not necessarily about the performance. It's about the qualities that you cultivate within the art, right? It's like, I'm sure you can relate. Discipline, patience, balance, work ethic, like all those things are invaluable, especially as a kid when they're just drilled in you.
We didn't really, I know a lot of kids, work through high school and, even college, but like my job was my sport. So my parents, they were like, if you strive to be excellent with baseball, with sports, like we will support you. And that was their gift to me.
Respect.
Which was,
good
respect,
parents too.
sure.
That's what I want to be able to do for my kid one day. It's just like, let them try everything and whatever they choose, like, look, like go all out. Cause I feel like oftentimes there's always a plan B. And I think that is like sometimes the responsible thing to do. But if you really do truly find your gifts, going all out is the next step. And then you kind of just got to surrender to the universe after that. But I feel like those three things right there is like the sort of the equation for a life well lived,
I love that, dude.
I feel like you're doing that, bro. I mean, all in. Look at this studio, man. Like this is what I'd call all in.
I love it, dude. I feel like we're just getting started. Like I was talking to Josh about this. Obviously, huge, like very grateful. It's a pleasure to sit down with you. I got so many questions and I was genuinely curious about you and the way you see life, the way you coach or teach rather, and childhood, family, all that stuff. But
yeah, man.
I think it's just the beginning for all of us. Like you guys are starting a new season. Congrats, by the way, on the engagement.
Yeah, man. The next step, bro. I feel like that's huge. Just long time coming, and just feel really grateful and excited for the new chapter.
Yeah, love it.
It's you're the big bro, man, and I feel like just committing, whether it be to anything, but especially to like your woman, it just creates fertile ground for like more creative, more stable, I just feel more powerful, you know?
I love that, dude. I echo that completely. Like I think Gigi, my wife, shows me my blind spots.
Mm.
You know, like our women truly are such a gift because without them, I would be a lot less aware, you know, self-aware. And I think she's really helped me step into my strengths.
I love that you talk about that, like, so just genuinely, because, like, bro, people ask me, who's your greatest coach? And people are probably expecting me to say, like, my yoga teacher, my father, or whatever. And I'm like, no, easily Renee, like, constantly just giving me feedback, not in a naggy way, but just like truly observing and giving me feedback from a place of, like you said, blind spots, because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
Those are, if you don't know what blind spots are, those are things that others can see that you can't.
Hmm.
And that's the essential sort of, um, really the fastest way to grow is by getting that direct feedback. So
It's funny too. If I'm thinking like I don't have any blind spots, like that's why that's exactly what I'm talking about.
exactly.
Okay, so
Let's get into
I
it.
love it. Jumping right into it, I would love to kind of start kind of like growing up. Like you had a unique upbringing, right?
Yeah, man.
So family, how was that like growing up? And then really more specific question, like what was your favorite part about growing up the way you did?
Yeah, growing up was, pretty normal. People kind of, I think, assume that I was raised in this like super granola, yoga family where we all chanted mantras like in the morning before brushing your teeth, like Om Namah Shivaya, like, just, but no, really, like my dad, I mean, they were sort of rebels, like him and my uncle Brian, who's also a yoga teacher. He created power yoga. They grew up in Detroit, they were rebels, man. And like
Yeah.
our family, I think, gravitated towards yoga because they needed it, They were extremely reactive, extremely a lot of instability in their household. And I think that sort of their father took them to yoga and brought them on that healing journey. And then naturally, it's just something you want to share with your kids, right? But of course, every kid, which I'm sure you'll start to feel soon, like rebels. So
Mm.
I didn't like yoga. I thought it was for girls. I just thought that it wasn't for me. I was an athlete like yourself. And so it
Yeah, don't
took
say
me.
is. Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
I mean, now I just play pickleball. I wouldn't say I'm an athlete for that, but
It's a sport. Yeah, it's a sport.
it's a sport, right? Is it? I mean, it's a sport.
I guess we'll see.
But no, talk about like longevity. Like those are the things I'm really interested in. And there's no one harder on their bodies earlier on in life than athletes. And
Mm.
I'm sure you're like even shifting the way that you're training based on longevity, right? Like the harder you are on anything, the faster you wear it out,
Mm.
right? So just being really mindful of like athletes just beat themselves up. So I feel like the way we worked out today was like tough, but it was like gentle in a sense that we weren't overdoing one muscle group.
Yeah.
It was pretty
100%.
well rounded. There was some mobility in there. We did a little stretching at the end. So
Yeah. No, I mean, today like was perfect. Like we did a simple 20-minute, for those wondering, 20-minute workout with dumbbells. Did a little bit of yoga flow, like the mobility stuff.
yep.
And then you kind of just taught me some new moves.
There's some cardio in
So,
there.
cardio.
Yeah. Like we learned some complex patterns of movement, which essentially, like for all the science people out there, like connects to new neural pathways, better for your cognition. I
Mm.
mean, there's so many, so many different like mental benefits as well to just moving your body. It's not just about the physical anymore.
Mhm.
But
We evolved today.
dude, we elevated.
We're a living elevator,
All ground is holy, baby. We
100%.
walked on that ground.
Bro. Barefoot on that ground. We about to have some.
It's crazy, man. But like to circle back to your question, I think that the biggest sort of factor in growing up with something so in your face, when I really began to see it was when I realized how it was affecting other people. So I'd come out of the studio and just see people glowing after yoga and just seeing their gratitude and seeing how free they felt after a 1 hour yoga class. And I'm like, I want to have that effect on other people one day. Because everything else for me was always so self-centered. It was always about me.
Yeah.
But if I could create something and lead something where other people are influenced by it, I mean, that was the big shift for me. So then after that, I basically took teacher training with my father at the age of 17, and I never looked back. There's been a lot of ups and downs on the path, but, there's never really been another option for me.
Wow.
I had one other job besides teaching yoga, and that was at Chipotle.
Chipotle. Would you ever go back?
No.
I
love
love
Chipotle,
for
but-
nostalgic purposes.
Yeah. A little too many seed oils in there for me nowadays.
Yeah, true. I know. I just had their total sidebar, but their honey Chipotle honey chicken. I was like, man, this is a lot of flavor in my mouth. But
Yeah, man. So
dude, just double clicking on what you said with longevity, sustainability. I think that's so important throughout all areas of life, business especially. Like
Mm.
if I can't do something for, to be fair, there's seasons for everything. Don't get me wrong. There's a season of grinding. There's a season of like, long nights and little sleep. But if you do that long enough, bro, you're gonna burn out. You're done.
It's not sustainable.
So whether it's business or fitness or relationships, like burnout's real. You need to have longevity and sustainability in mind.
Totally.
So I
In
think
everything that you do.
yeah, 100%. So
Yeah, man. And everything comes in seasons too. And like, some years are going to be like good years for family. Other years are going to be good years for financial. Other years are going to be all about health. Like you kind of just have to go with the waves and the seasons of life. And, rest and renewal are really important too. Like one of the things I always share in yoga is like downtime is not wasted time. So really prioritizing that, whether it's taking a little retreat for yourself, taking a mini family vacation, like that is anything but wasted time, man.
yeah, I got so many things I can ask right there. So one of them being, you just mentioned, stillness or mindfulness or inner peace. In a world that's like crazy chaotic, never been more loud and noisy, like
Yep.
if someone can't go out and, go on a vacation, like how would you and maybe how do you find peace in the chaos? Like what are some things you do?
Yeah, great question. I think we all can relate to that because pretty much the whole world's chaos, So we need to find that peace internally within the framework of our own body and just have moments of meditation throughout the day, whether that's like what I like to call prana rituals, These are rituals that sort of support your vitality, your life force, that really fill your own cup up. That could be something as simple as, making your own pour over coffee in the morning or, just having a few moments of stillness, observing your breath or maybe stretching in your bed or whatever it might be. But I would say just finding like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes a day where you can just be still and present. And oftentimes that happens by really stilling your body, right? If you still your body first, the mind can begin to soften. But it gets a little bit more like complex, but yeah, I mean, stillness is invaluable, definitely. And how do you find stillness?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said the breath, right? Prana meaning breath almost.
Yeah, prana can be translated to life force, but breath
Yeah.
is our life force,
Yes.
right?
And vitality, all that stuff, super aligned.
You could pump oxygen in and out of, not to get too graphic, in and out of a dead body, but there's no life force there. So that's why they call it prana, because it's like, it's literally bringing up and down your life force.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. It's a very vivid picture too. But it's and it's powerful. And I think breath has
it
been
is.
so much of a journey for me, like learning the power of breath, learning the power of
Have you ever had like a breathwork experience or just through your
yes.
own? Okay.
Yes. I've had a couple. And it's powerful. I mean, it takes you places, especially when it's guided.
It could
right?
be like psychedelic, which I don't think if you're listening to this, like you need to have that experience. I think some people do take it over the edge by hyperventilating themselves, and getting too much oxygen to the brain is not like essential for what it could be. Even just some really mindful breathing, even just observing your natural normal breath
Sure.
is an incredible practice in its own right.
Yeah, I think any of that, like all of that's the spectrum of the intensity, let's say, even if you're just practicing the less intense stuff, it's the practice of it that is that's teaching you it.
Yeah. And
So
a cool thing, just to touch on that real quick about the breath, is your breath is the only system in your body that's both voluntary and involuntary, which means that, as soon as you pay attention to the breath, like you can't just stop your heartbeat, right? But you can hold your breath. So as soon as you give importance to your breath, it actually is always in the present moment. So, and it's the only autonomic part of your body that actually can control your nervous system. So if you lengthen your exhales that are longer than the inhales, you'll start down regulating your nervous system. And if you start to increase your inhales and do some faster breaths, you can really upregulate your nervous system to go more into like a, energizing.
yeah, ready to.
So
ready to-
the whole idea is like bringing it back to like the chaotic versus the stillness. Like you can be in a chaotic environment, but bring yourself into that more like rest and digest relaxation response in the midst of chaos, which is kind of
So yeah, breath is tied to like so much of like that mindfulness. Yeah, I think that's always been something that I try to do more of in this season of life with kids is take a deep breath. The power of 3 deep breaths in a day, super underrated. And then of course, whether it's like meditation, prayer, I mean, just centering yourself on that moment with your breath is powerful. And that's what I love about life. Like this is one thing that I think is so cool to see people, no matter what you look like, what your culture is, what your belief is, religion, political, the whole nine.
Mm.
There's a few things that we share in common across the board. And one is breath. It's like
It's
God gave him
universal.
breath, dude. Universal.
There's
No matter what.
there's no religious breath. It's
Yeah.
just like there's no like ethnic breath. It's just breath. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I'm curious with you, like how do you sort of manage your like you have like you have a family, a beautiful family. Like when you're in the midst of chaos, when your kids are all over the place, like how do you sort of like bring it in?
Like to stay from
Yeah, how do you
imploding.
like for all the parents out there, like
Yeah.
what's like I mean, do you just like what do you do? I'm kind of curious for that.
I mean, that's a great question. I do think there's a priority. There has to be a priority on stillness and quiet time.
Mm.
So like quiet time for the mind, for yourself. I used to be a blabberer. Like I would just not stop talking. And I'm still not great. But I've really stepped into that more and just at night, with my wife, just like be together. And there's times where we talk and catch up, but that's so essential to just be and not talk and not have to give. It's just to be and receive.
Totally. Just it's rare where you can share silence with somebody. It's pretty intimate actually. Like to be able to just sit in silence with someone and appreciate their company is like a spiritual experience.
Bro, 100%. One of the things I've been doing to like a mindfulness kind of practice I've been getting into is with my wife and my kids. My oldest daughter, she's old enough to know, but I'll say, "Hey, Gianna," I'll say, "What color are daddy's eyes?" And I'll get right in front of her face. So we sit there and I don't say a word and she doesn't say a word for a couple of seconds. And I'm just peering into her soul. And I was like taking that second to like be present and lock eyes with her. Because how many times have I gone through life, especially with my wife, where I am so caught up in life and business and what's next and what happened then and how can I get better that I don't take a second and just like how often do we just look at each other and not say anything?
Crazy. It's
So for me, it's like that connection.
even now I'm just like locking eyes.
I'll get you another one right there. But it's that's a
No, that's
a huge
beautiful.
practice. And I think just to cap that off,
Please.
like how I find peace and stillness is similar to how I find energy. And it's not by self-protecting or not from isolating necessarily. It's finding things that give me more of it. The best way to use the energy you have is to put it into things that give you more of it. So it's the same thing with peace, right? It's like, what can I do? Is it prayer? Is it silence? Is it going for a walk with my dog? What are the practices that I can do more of with this little piece that I have that give me more and expand?
I like those are like little energy deposits,
Yes.
just all around you. And just to circle back, that's beautiful that you get to share that with your daughter and with your family. Like that, those little things make the difference, in our everyday lives. So
100%.
beautiful, man. Wow.
I also heard time recently, which I love because I felt like time was flying. And
It's going quick.
yeah, and it's like the quote said basically, time doesn't actually fly. Time just goes by unaccounted for. So one of the things I want to get back into is like at the end of the day, with releasing the day, letting go and kind of being in that prayerful state is like to maybe like write something down. Like, what did I learn? What was a highlight? Did you do better? Did your downward dog look better than Jonah today? Like, but like truly think about the day because each day is so unique and that kind of slows time down.
It really does.
So I think that's a practice that I think we can.
There's another little ritual that can, because if time is just flying by or moving quick, we need more things that slow it down, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's no better way to slow down than just to be with yourself, be present. That's the only way. That's why I come back to yoga and meditation because it's one of the only things that legitimately slows time down. I like to call
you can't be texting when you're in a freaking pose. Right?
No, you got it. You're forced to be fully present. And it's like, I always like to call, meditation, like kind of acts like brakes. It like breaks not only the speed of everything, but the speed of your thoughts because our thoughts are just constantly going and that doesn't really help anything either. So if we can find space, not just between, everyday hustle, but if we can find space between our thoughts, there's a beautiful quote by Viktor Frankl. And he says, life is about, one of the best things you can do is create space between stimuli and response. And in that space is is essentially freedom, because you can choose. Because we're constantly reacting in everything that we're doing. And we have minimal control. So until we can find that little space between stimuli and response, now we have a little bit of wiggle room to, make conscious choices.
Wow,
That's
that's
it.
profound.
It's a great quote.
Because
And it's real.
reaction is the default, I think, for most people, myself included.
Totally. And we're constantly reacting, even if it doesn't feel like a negative reaction. It's just like, oh, an itch here, even like subconsciously too,
So
But
how does yoga for you translate into your everyday life? I mean, we're talking about some of these things, but I'm curious, like specifically, if you,
yeah, yoga itself is essentially Eastern calisthenics, at least the physical aspect of the practice, right? So, it's really just unique, creative ways to touch different places in your body and make them feel good, right? Touch them gently. Um, But the where the yoga comes in is the quality behind the postures. What are you, just like in sports, like what are you cultivating? And one of the biggest ones is awareness, equanimity, which is your non-reactivity. You're cultivating what I like to call benevolent qualities, so positive qualities, right? Because it's a yoga practice. You do it so much in a kind of a protected space. You're on your yoga mat. There's supportive people around you. So when you go out into the real world, hopefully it transcends one day your yoga mat, and you can bring that non-reactiveness, that patience, that balance into every relationship and into every aspect of your life. So there's a reason they call it a yoga practice, because eventually it's got to transcend your mat. And so for me, that's what it helps. I mean, yeah, of course you can get more flexible, and, you might be able to touch your head to your legs, but, there's
I did not do that today.
there's no real benefit to being able to touch your right big toe to your forehead. I mean,
Outside of looking cool.
yeah, you might get a few more views, but
Yeah.
I mean, but so like, and we'll get to practice hopefully together this weekend, like in a real space. I know we kind of just did some funky movements, but your nervous system, it just,
Yeah.
the body responds to that, and it just calms down, and it's so vital, man.
Were you always, has your personality shifted massively, or were you always kind of, I would say you got this like calming energy, super positive energy, like
Hey, bro, likewise.
always the same for
You
you?
are what you see in others, man. And I know we were talking about that earlier. I don't know. Ask Renee. No,
Yeah.
she might not say. No. I feel like it's always a balance, right? Like it's a balance. I think whatever you need in life, yoga will give to you. If you come to yoga too hard, and it will soften you. If you come to yoga too soft, it will give you some strength and firmness and confidence.
Interesting.
So for me, I'm definitely an Aries. I'm very passionate about everything that I do. But on the other side of that, I love to just find balance and peace and moments of stillness.
What's your birthday?
March 22nd.
Oh, interesting.
Like what was
Yeah,
yours?
my wife's is the 26th.
Oh wow. So she's an Aries as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
a shift.
And yeah, it's right before me as Pisces. What are you?
Sagittarius.
Oh, you're a fire sign too. So there's a lot of fire in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
I'm not an astrologer or anything, but
you just whip out all the details. Like,
like, dude,
here's your day. Here's your daily horoscope.
start bringing out the chart.
No, man, amazing. So let's shift into community, because so much of yoga is community, right?
So glad you brought this up.
Yeah,
And you guys, it's inspiring to see. I really want to know more about what you're building out here, because for me, I feel like that's the goal, right? Everything comes from community. There's a really quick story about like essentially an enlightened monk, and they asked him like, what's the whole goal of all this, right? Is it like to go into the Himalayas or like hide in a cave? And he's like, no, like enlightenment's all about coming back and creating community, surrounding yourself amongst like-minded, high vibrational people. And that's my goal. It's been hard for me to do that, kind of traveling. We're creating like a global community, but there's something special about. So tell me a little bit about what I'm going to experience tomorrow.
Yeah, at the core.
I'm excited. No, yeah, is that a core?
Oh, you mean the pathos?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up tomorrow.
Yeah, heck yeah, bro. Let's go. I didn't know if you were for sure popping in.
I'm going to be there.
Pathos is our local community, and we have, the main thing is a men's beach workout. Now, just like I think the same vibe, same energy, it's not just about the beach workout. It's truly about connecting. Like so many guys, we have guys that are in their 20s, like young, maybe even 18 and younger. But then we have guys in their 50s, 60s. We have the whole spectrum.
Love-
And so it's so much about being seen, so much about connecting to your body and to other people, doing something hard together. And then we always have an intention. We always kind of drop in like at the end and have a message, whether it's, this Zen type of lesson, or if it's a, inspiring quote. Like, we're always trying to find ways to really give them a purposeful experience. So tomorrow though is the co-ed space. So once a month we do men, women, anybody can come, kids come, family oriented.
I love
and
that.
The vibes are incredible.
You have that intentionality to do both, and I think there's benefits to both. But I think it's just cool that you're creating a safe and sacred place to just move your body and connect, like you said, and get in nature too. Like just
truth, literally the trifecta.
And you guys get in the water too, I hear.
100%, dude.
Bro. It's like I see the hype reels, and I'm like, this looks almost like too good to be true. Like it looks paradise, and you're just like getting everyone hyped the whole time, and like you're I feel like there's a word in yoga, it's called dharma, which is like essentially the easiest way to understand is like your life's essence or purpose. And I feel like you're living your dharma, brother. Like,
bro, that's a high compliment.
Bro, it's like it's evident everything you do, how you show up, how you relate to people, and it's a blessing to be able to, even yourself, the homie over here, like just being able to create authentically as well.
Huge.
It's such a gift, especially in this world that we live in right now.
Yeah. I love creating. I think we're creating all the time, whether we're documenting or not.
Yep.
Like that's the thing I live by.
We're creating our realities.
100%. Yep. Thoughts, words, action, co-creating with God. Like it's insane how much power you do have, how much control you do have over what's in your control. But I think going back to what we said earlier, like we focus on the stuff that we don't have control of and we go crazy. But when you think about it, really situations and people, they kind of show us what we need to work on. Like if I'm pissed off because someone cut me off in traffic, it's like, is it his fault, or is something inside me I need to confront, I need to work through?
There's you just reminded me of an amazing quote by Peter Crone. He says, life will present you with certain people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. And like all those little things are just literally tests for you to basically, override those and surpass those by just, coming to your breath.
Fire.
And just being chill, man.
People are our mirrors. I said something that you would like, because Joshua Martin, shout out Joshua Martin.
Shout out to the boy.
Flack on social media for a prank I did with my wife, which was just funny. It's a whole different story. But I said something where it's like, man, at the end of the day, I think the best way to approach content, which is another question I probably have for you too.
Yeah.
But like content creation, putting yourself out there, like by definition, you're going to get judged. You're going to get misunderstood. And if I hold resentment in my heart towards someone based on a comment or what they say, I lose. So it's like, dude, I got nothing but love. If they say something that's true, but not quite like fully true, it's like, I'm going to take that. I'm going to, ask myself some questions and think about how I can improve or be more aligned or express myself in a better way. Totally. But the whole point is the way I approach social media and life, you're talking about like living like in my alignment. I try to see the best in every single person and situation that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? And that's
hard to do often too sometimes.
My gift is encouragement. So when I see you or anyone, I'm like, bro, I want to see you step into your gifts, your calling, and live more aligned, step into your strengths. That's what I freaking love to do, and it gives me energy.
That's a superpower, man. I think that is one of your superpowers. It's kind of like the MJ effect, right? He makes everyone around him better on the team, and you don't always see that. You see greatness, but the real greatness is when people around you start to elevate. But yeah, man, like I think with your content, one of the things that kind of drawed me to you is like just that word is sometimes tricky, like being authentic or being your true self, because everyone's sort of just learning and growing and remixing. And, eventually you get to this place where you find what you love and what's authentic, but then that's just all ego, right? Anyway, so just being like, it almost, your content just kind of like makes you feel like you're there with you and you have this way of doing it. And I was kind of curious, like, how would you, because even myself, like talking in front of a camera, it's a muscle, right?
Yeah.
But like, do you just pretend like you're just there? What's your strategy there?
What a great question. You're a natural dude. Like you being you is perfect. It's everything that you need to do, which I think that's the goal, is no matter where you are in situations, you just want to like live from that place of like, okay, how do I remain true to who I am
Mm.
and not feel like you have to prove yourself. Like you coming on this podcast or teaching someone who's in a different space or me being in a different room, it's like you don't got to prove your worth. You already got that. So you're not
You make it
proving
easy,
anything.
man. Like if it was like a judgmental space, I might be like,
Yeah.
I gotta share something wise in here, man. You know, but like it, yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that, but
That's part of the answer though. With what you just asked, is that being kind of the goal is I don't want to try to prove myself as much as I want to like talk to one person. So when I try to talk on camera or when I talk on camera, I kind of envision I'm either talking to my younger self or like a really good friend of mine.
ooh,
And I think if you do that, it feels really good because you can connect with someone. It's like, yeah, I actually know you. In full circle, when I know that strangers are really just neighbors and neighbors are my friends, like I could see a stranger, know nothing about you, but I know we share the same breath and I know we want the same things. And it's like I can connect with that part of you.
bro.
And then we'll figure out the details, like what do you like to do?
Right.
This and that. But
It's like let's just get to like human to human. Like
Yeah.
you know, that's a beautiful way to just honestly relate to the world and people. I'm inspired by that.
he's
Yeah.
always dropping like dope quotes. I'm like all these quotes I'm eating up. I got one for you if you maybe heard it before.
What is it?
I say it a lot at Pathos and my summit and stuff, but there was a young boy who asked a wise old man, like, what's the secret to life? How do I live a fulfilled, successful life?
Ooh.
And the wise man said, in every person, you got to remember this, in every person you meet, there's a little piece of God in them. And that's who you talk to. That's what you see. That's who you speak to. It's the highest version and the best version of them. But make sure they see it in you first. So it's like simultaneously, I want to see the best in you and everybody around me, but I need to show you my best side too. I can't wait for you to give me love to give you love first, unless I'm going to be reacting.
I like how you phrase that because at first I was like, you said you got to see it in me first, but it wasn't about them actually seeing it in you. It was you expressing the highest version of yourself so they can see it clearly. It's not like, oh, you have to see me before I see you. It's like just literally walk in your highest power.
Yes.
And that, dude, that's an everyday practice, man. That's like an ongoing thing, right? And I'm constantly, I feel like I put myself in positions where I'm forced to be the highest expression of myself. And especially like these yoga teacher trainings that we do, it's like they're 2-week or sometimes 3-week immersive
Intensive
environments where on that third week, you know, the stuff starts to bubble up to the surface, you know, and people start to really show their true colors. You really can't hide in these settings, right? Because we're spending so much time together. So it really forces you to be in your highest self, like you said. And then hopefully that sort of transitions into the rest of your life and you can do it when no one's watching and when, you know, when you're with your partner and all that. But I love that, bro. We're all reflections of each other at the end of the day, you know?
Which is, yeah, that's so good. Like what I see in you is within me. Like the traits we admire about people, it's like, yeah, because you're like, you know, that's within you. Like it's the familiarity thing.
I'm smiling right now because I just made a song with that exact that.
So, yeah. So music, dude, I want to get into that. Right before music, let's pop in real quick in the community vein.
Yeah.
You know, you do these retreats. That's crazy intense. 3 weeks. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah.
But what's your ultimate goal?
The goal
To draw out of people. What's your goal in terms of like, what do you want people to feel, experience, or become?
Yeah, well, kind of like with you guys, it's really just, you know, creating community, bringing together the right people because we're obviously so much stronger together. And then, yeah, most people might think they're coming to become a yoga teacher, but it's the journey to become a yoga teacher where you start to find your voice, where you start to find your own self-expression, your confidence. You know, there's so many qualities in leadership and just embodiment that kind of that cultivate on the way to becoming a yoga teacher, right? So that's kind of my goal and with that. And I think people just leave, man, like lighter and stronger. We all need that reset in life. And just kind of taking yourself out of the everyday hustle and bustle and traveling and going somewhere new and being around 30 other people is a gift, man.
Yeah, like-minded, all trying to find the same thing.
But I've found a whole new passion in this. Like, I love teaching yoga, but what I'm really passionate on is helping other people become their highest self, becoming teachers, becoming leaders. Because the world doesn't need any more finance guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we have enough of those, or we have corporate, like
We got
the-
AI, bro.
you gotta. The world really, and it doesn't, you don't need to narrow yourself in a box, but I think the world needs more storytellers. The world needs more connection catalysts, whatever you want to call them. The world needs more, people who are just kind of being the light, right? And you could, I don't care if you're a plumber or a painter or a bricklayer, like you can still be an artist in everything that you do. And it's just a simple perspective, right? Like, I would consider you an artist. I would consider you an artist. Like everyone in this room is artists because we're creating and shaping our worlds. So it doesn't matter where you're from or what your ethnicity is. It's just who you are, man. We're just shaping and creating, and you start to realize that with this newfound perspective, that the world isn't coming at you; it's coming from you. And yeah, man. So for me, yoga teacher trainings is just like one beautiful kind of stage, not a stage. What do you call something that sort of like moves you? I'll think of the word that I'm thinking of, but essentially, yeah, it's just a place for people to come together and grow, just to keep it simple.
Amazing.
But yeah,
Do you struggle with self-doubt? How do you approach when you don't feel like, I don't know, you just kind of lose that mental edge? Like, how do you approach that?
yeah, I think everybody struggles with self-doubt. If they said they didn't, they'd probably be lying, you know?
That's how they deal with self-doubt, is they lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest enemies that the Buddha often talks about is this storm of doubt, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not enough, for whatever you're trying to go for, right? But again, what helps you overcome that doubt is, not the false affirmations, but is like the direct experience, just putting in the work over and over again, showing up over and over again, regardless of the results.
Imperfectly.
Yeah, but I also think the doubt, I've said this before, like, is a superpower too. Like don't let it overpower you. Don't let that storm sweep you away, but really allow that to be a form of humility and give you that beginner's mind and say, I don't know everything. So it just depends. You can either use it as something that can serve you or it can hurt you.
So good.
Yeah, but I feel like I mean, bro, you have close to 1 million followers, and like your presence is just humble, bro. You're willing to learn. You're just it's just your nature. So seriously, man, thank you for having me in this space and just holding that. Because you see it all the time, bro. Like everyone has their own worlds and they think they know the way, but just being open to being changed by an experience is the definition of humility for me.
Wow, love that.
Like we go into things really not willing to change, but it's scary because in order to be willing to be changed, you have to be vulnerable. And vulnerable and humility are almost like the words can be exchanged.
Yeah, sure. And that's not like a default trait that we tend towards mostly.
Totally.
I think that's it's such a great trait to embody well, is the learning, lifelong learning. I surround myself with guys who, have different perspectives, personalities. Like that's such a gift to me as a man, because I get to learn on a daily basis. I get to, see how things can be different. So for me, that's huge. I also think the idea of I think like we're given everything in life, like we work for it, but it's truly ours to hold lightly. So you mentioned like the platform, like God's been great, freaking
Platform. That was the word I was looking for. It's
Okay.
a platform
Yes.
for what we're trying to really
Love that.
accomplish.
Yes. And so I believe God gives us platforms. Like we are given this platform to impact the world for good, to connect people, to encourage them, encourage them to step into their God-given potential, who they were created to be, all that stuff. And so I try to remember that all the time. Who am I at my core? Because if I lose the platform or the audience, if I lost my body or my physique, my physical capabilities,
Who are you?
who's Brian then?
Yeah. Is your name even Brian?
I don't know. Maybe you know.
Yeah.
But there's
That's such a great
Yeah.
even just asking the question in itself is such a good introspection meditation, like just really like self-observation, like who are you when everything, falls away, when all the fluff falls away. And just to keep putting yourself in positions like that, I think is a great way to shed the layers.
Love that. Yeah, we point to things like roles or like even like good things like husband, father, like whatever it is, but we sometimes assign roles to our inherent identities and worth that will be limited or they not fully describe us.
Totally.
So, and the last thing I'll say on that too, which I think gives me perspective, and you too, with just the amount of people you reach and impact. I never want to lose sight of this idea that success is not the follower count. Success is not how many people stream or listen to my music. You know, if I'm you, I don't have music, but it'd be really bad music. Let's be honest. But it's like success is none of that freaking external outside. This stuff's important because I'm not downplaying like the impact we can make on the world.
Right.
I'm saying success for me though is if I'm being the person I want to become, that's success. If my people, the ones who know me best, my wife, my kids, more and more, if they love and respect me the most, if they're proud of dad or proud of their husband, that's success. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like, I love you, but if they're proud of me and and they see me as someone they love and respect, I'm successful. That's it. That's all I need.
Amen to that, brother. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm constantly trying to make her proud, you know, just make because those are the people that see you the most, and it's people that matter the most. But
yeah, 100%.
I feel like the example though, just, you know, you said you're not attached to the roles of like, you know, the successes in all aspects of life, but I think what you share, I think, is just such a powerful example for men. I think just in general across the board, it's like, you know, the epitome of success. You know, you don't need to drive a fancy car or whatnot, you know, but just, you know, have the dog, have the health in check, have the family. Yeah. Like that's the new, I feel like, wave of success and happiness.
Yeah.
Like those are the new flexes.
I couldn't agree more.
But like, you know, I want a golden retriever too, but like that I'm allergic to the hair, but I think I'm going to do it anyway, man.
Just power through. Like, dang, dude, I really inspired Jonah. He got a golden.
Bro,
if you do, I know that was not kidding.
Bro, it's like, it just makes life better, man. And like having like happiness is only real when shared, and like you can self prophesize and just do things for yourself, but it's such a bottomless bucket. And it's so nice to be able to get so you can give it away with others.
So good, dude. I think that's it. And one of the quotes I saw is like on a piece of content, but it's like a trend actually now, but I almost forgot that this was the whole point.
I love that trend, dude. I'm so glad you brought that up. You got something for that today?
Yeah, I was editing it this morning.
Oh
my, the same thing.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. No, I think that trend is so beautiful because it's like people post it and it's just like a normal moment, or someone watching a sunset, or like I almost forgot that the journey itself is the point.
Yeah.
I always like to say the path is the practice, because it's not the destination. It's literally just these everyday nuanced moments. And finding the beauty in those moments.
And being fully present, you know, being there, being truly there, like that when I talked about with my daughter, and not being scattered or, you know, somewhere else in your mind. Because, you know, we only get these days one at a time, and that's it.
And I think your kids, and I know this from like little cousins and nephews and just like siblings, like it gets to a certain age, but in that young age, I think that's why we love being around kids and even animals, because they're so present. Like kids aren't in their thoughts. If they feel something, they scream, right? They're so in their bodies.
They're not worried about what I think about them either.
They're not. And they're fully present. I think that's why we gravitate and want to spend so much time with kids and animals, is because they force us to be present, and it rubs off on us.
Yes.
And I think we're almost like going back. Like we have to unlearn so many things.
That's really it, man. I mean, I think we've talked about this, Josh, is like kids teach you, they teach you what you need to unlearn. You know, it's like so many things they have figured out. They figured out the truths of life, and we forgot as adults, and then we work hopefully full circle at the end of our lives. But we can do that sooner than that.
100%.
It comes back to that, you know, pure consciousness, pure presence. Love and enjoyment, dude. That's one of the things that's on my freaking core values, is like enjoy, play, joy. Never losing that sense of like don't
you definitely got your childlike spirit in there. Like I know I see young Brian in there, just, you know, having fun, man.
He's a rebel, dude. Real quick to tap that to close the knot there with the community connection. I love this quote from Thomas Merton.
Let me hear it.
He says, "Love is our true destiny. We don't find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it with another. We find it with people. We find it with who we're doing life with, who we can love." Like, that's so true. And I've been there too often where it's like life's all about me. Like my day's all about me. kids force you to stop thinking that way. But if you can do that without kids, even better, even more impressive. But truly, you don't understand like how beautiful life can be until you get out of your own world and say, oh man, like what can I do for this person? How can I give you value? How can I do something that's greater than me? And I think that's huge.
I mean, yeah, I've heard from parents. I mean, I don't have kids myself, but like I said, you're an inspiration to, take that next step soon when the time is right for her, whenever she wants to. But it's like I feel like you don't really know what unconditional love is truly, truly until you have a kid. That's what I hear. I don't know if it's true, but you know.
I could talk about that all day, bro. If I didn't believe in God before and higher power, like something greater before kids, dude, having a kid just blew my mind.
Wow.
Because I mean, I literally, I'll shut up about it, but I think it's a powerful thing.
Please, bro, I embrace it. Like,
When I looked at my baby's eyes, when I looked into her eyes and she's growing up, like first few months, I remember just singing with her and praying over her and like the facial expressions. I think that's so important. So I'm like in her world, in her face, in her eyes, and giving so much love. I'm like, dang, I wish you knew how much I loved you. She'll never know, right? She'll never know.
Make her cry.
Yeah, she'll never know what her dad feels when I look at her, because I got so much love. I could tell her. I could sing to her. I can pray over her. I can do all these things, but she'll never understand it unless she somehow starts to see herself through my eyes, through her father's eyes. So I think in the greater cosmic sense, like, dude, I wish we could just see ourselves through God's lens. Because then it's like, bro, then you're unconditionally loved. You know who you are, man. Like, that's no mistake.
I don't think I've ever heard that analogy put like that. That's a really interesting way to think about like self-love so you can share it with others, but also just like we're all children.
Bro.
That's beautiful. Well said,
100% unconditionally love, like the most powerful force in the universe. I feel pretty confident standing by that's the truth. Is the most powerful thing in the universe.
Hey, bro, we're on the same page there.
That's huge, bro.
Well said, dude.
So I want to get into music if you're cool with that.
Yeah, like, we can rap about it.
What's that been like,
dude? Talk about we're all just finding different modalities and ways to speak to people, right? So you can do it through movement, you can do it through coaching, you can do it through doing events. Another way to speak to people is through music, right?
One of the most I'd say probably most powerful, maybe.
It's interesting how you can, how it like goes through your whole body when you hear a song and it has a message. And growing up in Detroit, like I've always loved rap music and hip hop music, and my brother's an artist, so that's how it kind of. I'm not a musician, dude. Like, I mean, now I am, I guess, but I think anybody can do it. Like, if I can do it, you can get into the studio and just kind of get out of your head and just let whatever comes through. Like, I feel like you would, if you just threw on a beat, bro, like the way you speak in the podcast, if you talked about like something inspirational, like it would come through, man.
We should do a song together,
bro. How much do you charge for a feature?
Man, let me talk to my manager. Then I will hire after today,
bro. Just like featuring Brian, bro. Like you just have like even in the beginning some like motivational, like, dude, it would be sweet. But long story short, like I just wanted to bring in some of these like conscious essence of lyrics and stuff into the music that kind of had a bop to it still. And I've been super fortunate just to collaborate with people like Trevor and Satsang. I don't know if you know who he is, but just like constantly learning from other artists who that's their craft, right? For me, the biggest way to grow and expand is through collaboration.
Yeah.
And I think you understand that.
What was that quote we said out there?
Wait, what did you say?
You shared it.
Did I share it?
I saw it and I was like, that's so true. It's like at the top, we're not competing. There's no competition at the top. We're just collaborating. So it's abundance mindset. What can I learn from you? What can I give to you? When you win, bro, I don't lose. When you win, I win.
You get stronger, bro.
Yeah.
That's the fact, bro. There's competition is an illusion. It's not real. But yeah, so with the music, I feel it was just another way to speak to people, and it could be a different medium for me to bring some of these lessons and mantras and, ancient mantras that have been spoken for thousands of years into like, sing-along songs. So it's just been a fun journey, man. Like I don't take it too seriously. I get in the studio once every few months with my brother. We have writing sessions and, I'm constantly collaborating with other incredible producers who make beats. And yeah, it's just been it's been fun, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
What's your
See where it goes.
do you go through like what do you listen to right now in terms of like your own music? Do you ever listen to your own music and kind of vibe out, or
Yeah, you got to like what you make, right?
Yeah.
Like even with anything that you do, like you got to make stuff that you like.
Yeah.
If you don't, I mean, if you don't like it, what are you, why are you making it?
you're making it and you're like, God, I don't want to listen to that.
Right.
No,
It's a little awkward listening to yourself. Like I don't really like use my music in my own classes all the time because that could come off a little like cheesy.
people might misunderstand you.
Yeah. So like, I'll let them. Dude, one person at my last teacher training said he found me through music. He didn't even know I was a yoga teacher, and then figured it out after. And that was like, whoa, that's cool.
Very.
But yeah, I think from this, it's like you can do anything. Just try it. Experimentation with observation. Just try everything. See what lands.
Yeah.
And that's how you find what you're naturally drawn to. That's how you find your gifts, because everybody has different gifts. And mine is definitely not singing. But
Can
like
you get a snippet of your next song? Just sing it right here on here.
but like it's all about like, just being authentic, right?
Yeah.
Even with your tone, like, your natural tone is unique to you, even when you're speaking. So just kind of even if you're forcing it with talking, you can feel that,
Bro,
I think that's what
Josh and I talk about that all the time, especially when I got into brand partnerships. And like, as you know, like if you're representing someone, it's almost like you put on this, like mysteriously you put on this hat that you don't think about and you start talking a certain way.
Right.
And you're like, wait, that's not me. Like that sounds like an ad. I sound like I'm trying to say something that I should be saying.
Right.
Versus just being me.
We all know how that works out. It never really,
Yeah.
really flows. So
a funny fact. I think it was a reel like 2 years ago, but maybe not 2 years ago because the song had to be out. But I was going through music on a reel on a kettlebell flow, and I was like, oh, what's this? Ignites Your Spirit. That's fire. I love that. Love that name.
Hey.
And that drop where it's like that woman vocal or whatever that is, like super high pitch, like, and it just like takes you into that moment, bro. That's such a powerful, and all this stuff. I mean, all your top things I've listened to, and they're so
I
beautiful.
always appreciate you. Yeah, just sharing the music and supporting me. That means a lot. And yeah, hopefully the music just brings you back to your breath. Like that whole track was all about, igniting your spirit, like getting you to breathe. It's like
vitality, baby.
It's a breath track, man.
I mean, that's what I love too. The names of it, the topics of it. It's all very like connected, universal.
It's all intentional, man. It's all pathos.
Dude, all pathos, bro. Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, do you have like is it a definition for that, or is it more like it could be a lot of things?
I'm gonna speak on behalf of Josh right now, but that was our original name, if you will, before the local community, and that was Josh's name that just kind of stood out to him. Now, if I remember correctly,
shout out Josh,
shout out JB, baby. There's pathos, ethos, logos, right?
Right.
And pathos usually gets associated with this kind of negative connotation, like suffering. I think is one of the first words that is associated with it. However, our kind of reframe was, it's like, it could be suffering or it could be passion. They talk about that, right? Like the passion of the Christ, like suffering. Obviously that was a suffering experience, but it was like, because of the love in his heart. So what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to suffer through because of love being the motivation?
Bro, that definition gives me it just gave me the chills, bro. That's a whole new like,
what are you willing to suffer for out of love because you're so passionate about doing it? You can't imagine not doing it.
And what's interesting about that is like finding suffering actually brings through real compassion, right? The meaning of the definition of compassion is to suffer together. So when you suffer together, even like in a workout, you're actually like really feeling that other person, right? It's so easy to relate to someone when everything's going well, but having compassion and passion, that's where it's birthed out of. Like, it's like the lotus in the mud, right? Now I have a whole new respect and meaning for that word, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, pathos, dude. It's so powerful. And I think that's huge. I mean, what we've been trying to do is do hard things together, go through that together, and come out the other side. Like, I've coming out the summit. Whenever you do something hard and difficult, and I love the connection there, compassion, and like doing something hard, suffering together, is powerful, because you do feel stronger. You do feel more connected, which is interesting. It's almost like if life's too easy and you never go through hard stuff, you don't reach like this super deep sense of connection.
Yeah, well said, man.
What are you, as we kind of probably wrap it up here in a little bit with the
Yeah.
hour, but what are you most curious about right now in this season of life? What are you excited about learning or growing in?
Man, great question. Gosh, I feel like now in life, I feel like, it, what am I most curious about? I think not becoming complacent, and just it's so easy to get in a rhythm of what you're comfortable in. And I think just being in a place where there's freedom to sort of just, again, don't lose that childlike curiosity. Like, I think what am I curious about is being curious.
Yeah, that's
I,
huge.
I don't want to lose that. I can sense some things shifting in me as I'm getting older, of just like kind of going through the motions, and to constantly keep putting myself in positions where I'm stretched
Mm,
beyond my ordinary limits. I know that's a little abstract, but I feel like every other front of life is sort of just kind of repetitive, as far as like, always exploring, whether it's content, whether it's, relationships, keeping things interesting, career wise, teaching wise. I could teach the same flow every class if I wanted to. And
right.
it's the self learning. If I stop reading books, I don't have as much inspiration to share in classes, right? So it's all connected. And when you realize that, it just makes you want to continue to be curious.
Love that. Super
So
good.
I don't know if that was the right answer, but what about you?
Man, I mean, there's a lot I'm curious about and a lot I'm learning and excited to learn about, but I just think it's how to balance like really powerful focus
Mm,
with not losing myself and sacrificing what matters most.
mm,
So like my kids, I've always had this like subconscious belief. I gotta be careful with my words. I've noticed that I've had a belief, I think subconsciously, that if I pour so much of my energy and all my attention into, my career, like what I want to do to the world,
sure.
I'll miss out on the kids or I'll miss out on the stuff that matters most.
Mm,
So I want to find the balance there where it's like I want to go all in. I want to freaking keep stepping into what I feel like I was put on earth to do, but also be the best dad, best husband as possible.
mm.
So finding ways to be more present, finding ways to have better balance, finding ways to time block and like increase my focus, and then finding ways to feel more connected with myself and others. Like
Well, dude,
if I can do that, I'll be pretty set.
yeah, I mean, I love it. I feel like even you just getting intentional with our time together, right? Like we could have just had no plan, but like you texted me, you're like, bro, what's a good time for you? This, just getting intentional. Because at the end of the day, like right after this, you probably got to go check on the
Yeah.
fam. It's
I got
like
date night tonight.
you got.
dude.
Oh, that's tonight.
Freaking
Freaking date night tonight,
so
man.
stoked.
Prioritizing, that's important. I'm learning that from Renee. It's like, yeah, we spend every day together, but how often do we actually say we're going to consciously like make this intentional?
Yeah.
We go out to dinner every night or a lot, but when is it going to be the
Right.
romantic,
hmm
aspect of
That's
it?
good, bro. So, man, I've loved this conversation. Even just hearing him, like, I'm like, dude, I got 20 more questions now, but I think we should land a plane with this, kind of like best advice question
Ooh,
from your, life, whether it's like childhood or lately. What's like the best advice you've gotten about life that's really impacted you the most?
man, coming in with the heat. I would say best advice is kind of things that we touched on, is always be a student in everything that you do. Come with an empty cup. Um, that would be the first one. Don't underplay that one. That's huge, in everything that you do. Like, even if you think you have an empty cup, your cup's still probably halfway full,
Hmm.
like really come open to being changed by the experience. That's how you grow. And then the second thing is just staying true to yourself, even if that means, I think we constantly are put in positions where do we either try to impress the people around us, or do we stay true to ourselves? Do we
Mhm.
people please, or do we, we come back? Because inherently we know what's best for us,
Mhm.
and it's a muscle, like really following that. So I would say those two things kind
Super
of
good.
together.
I'm a people pleaser, so that second part is huge. Like
Likewise, man.
trying to get better at that is something I'm very focused on. Like being okay with that friction of not pleasing someone, like having them be like a little bit frustrated, disappointed with me.
It's hard, bro, letting people down, but there's an art, of like, disappoint being true to yourself, even if that means like going against everything that everyone else around you wants,
Yeah.
which is like it takes
Uh,
so much strength.
mm.
But We're stronger. We're strong enough, man.
Bro, I'm stronger with you in my life. I'm so proud of what you've done and who you're becoming. So stoked for your future and what
Thank
we're
you.
doing.
Thanks for being
I'd love to stay connected.
yeah, bro. We're definitely. I mean, we're 3 hours away, so now that we've made this connection, and I just feel like we can keep elevating, bro. Like this is even the podcast journey. I'm excited to see who you else you have on here, and it's gonna be special, bro. Let's keep elevating, man.
Let's go, dude. Great freaking conversation.
That was
Jonah
fire.
Kest, the one and only. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man.